basketball. And I should
Swish.
actually. I can't spin a basketball. Can you spin a basketball?
No, I definitely cannot.
So if we tried right now, it would be a failure, right? But we would have tried, and that's the point. Hi, everybody. We're talking about goal setting today and how it applies to companies and businesses and the marketing specifically side of the goal setting. So I'm James.
And I'm Jocelyn.
Jocelyn is an account manager here at Twin Creek Media and has to do a lot of this actually with every client that comes in the door. We start with goal setting when we start with the strategy piece of the project. So it's really, really important. So we like to talk about in our company how we work backwards. So, that might have been kind of a weird thing to learn, but what do you think that means, in your experience?
I think it's getting to the end goal or imagining the end goal and trying to figure out how we get there. Yeah,
because you know where you want to be, right? Or you should. When you're doing goal setting, you define the finish line. We use that. So it's if you're on a journey, if you're on a race, you have a finish line, and you know where you are. And if you don't, then we figure out where you are and kind of in relation to your competitors, in relation to where your goal setting is, and then you can work backwards. You can set these milestones. I think it's for. Doesn't really matter. The chart's always reversed when you do it on, on camera. Yeah. So I think it's this way. I go this way, and then you work backwards to where you are, and you set your milestones and your goals. That way you can work backwards from the finish line, and that is the best way we found, because then you can decide exactly what's needed to reach your goals by defining what's the halfway point, what's the the incremental milestones, and how are we going to measure that? Because if we're not measuring, we have no idea where we are.
Exactly.
And you can't improve. So another thing I would like to say at the very beginning would be, I don't know if you've ever heard this before. I think it was one of the famous basketball players that said this, but you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
I like that quote.
And this is a little bit to do with goal setting, but really it's about execution. Because if you're not actually risking anything, you're not moving forward at all. You don't have a chance of success or failure if you don't actually take the shot, right? And that's not really about goal setting, but it is about there's no point of even setting goals if you're not going to take the shot. Yeah. We should have a basketball. And I should
Swish.
Actually, I can't spin a basketball. Can you spin a basketball?
No, I definitely cannot.
So if we tried right now, it would be a failure, right? But we would have tried, and that's the point.
I like that.
So, just to re-illustrate.
Nice.
Yeah, so there are some neat stats when it comes to goal setting. One of the neat ones I discovered was 90% of studies prove that setting fixed goals, defined goals, is better than vague ones. So, that's common sense, but 90% of studies proved it. So better as in there was more success to follow up.
And 90% is pretty high.
Yeah. And there is an interesting related one to how that affects employees in your company too, right? Mm-hmm.
So 6.7 times increase in employees' pride in those goal-oriented companies.
Yeah. So. Which also makes sense, but that's a really high multiple. Almost 7 times more employee pride in companies that actually have goals versus don't. So you show up to work, you don't really have any personal goals because the company hasn't given you any. Your larger group or your team doesn't really have any defined benchmarks or goals either. So you yourself are not working towards something. You're just doing your work. Yeah. You're plugging in. You're spending your day at your desk or out on the floor or wherever doing your thing, right?
But
I
want to know why.
No one's measuring and no one's giving you why, and no one's actually cares how much you get done or how much you have accomplished 3 months from now. Mm-hmm. And same goes for the whole team, and then same goes for the company. They're just drifting along, right? This was another quote that I think I originally had thought of too. And if you don't know which direction if you don't know where the finish line is or where the destination is, any direction is fine. If I say, just go, just walk, just move, you're like, great. And 10 people start walking in different directions. Exactly. As a team, you're not going to get anywhere together.
No.
So, but if you say, okay, here's the latitude and longitude, doing some orienteering, right? Give you guys a compass, you know where you're going. Here's latitude and longitude. Meet me, and tomorrow on over the mountain on this side of the hill. And everyone then moves towards that destination because they know where they're going. Yeah. It's the same direction. They're moving in the same direction. So they have a common goal. So enough about that. We'll get into this is not to do with marketing yet. So
So let's bring this back to marketing.
Okay.
So how would you go about setting goals for marketing strategies? So we all kind of know about goal setting in general. Yeah. But let's relate it to marketing.
So the framework we use all the time in our company, this is for all business goals. It works great for personal, but marketing especially, because we're talking about that, right? SMART.
Yes. SMART
goals. It's a acronym. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that what they are when they have all the dots?
I think so. Yeah. But not to be mistaken with SMRT. It's SMART.
I'm so smart. So START stands for specific. You have to nail it down. You have to define it. I want to get in better shape is not a SMART goal because you haven't even come close to defining what that is. Yeah. For again, let me get back to business. I want to grow my business. Not a SMART goal. I want to have more free time. Okay, it's getting a little better, but you haven't defined the rest of it, how you're going to accomplish that. So I want to make more money. I want to have a better SMART goal was I want to have 5 more Google reviews for my company by July 1st. Wow, okay. So now we're specific, we're measurable because you have that number in place. Attainable is the A. That's realistic. Only 5 more reviews in a few months from now. It's realistic and it's time bound because I put a date on it, right? So the SMART goals are our favorite. So we try to create goals and they have to be all those things. Other sorts of goals that businesses typically have are expansion related, but not tied to dollars. So they could be things like they open up a new office in a different city, or they expand their territory. They're an online company or a service business, and they say, we want to break out and we want to go to the next province or across Canada. We started on our corner of the country, and now we want to offer our stuff across the country. So those are also good things. Number of employees, we have 25 people. We need to look to hire 10 more people or something like that. And funny enough, we do a lot of recruitment.
Yeah.
And there's a neat similarity, isn't there, between recruiting and generating new customers for our companies, because we use a lot of the same tactics.
Exactly.
So that's kind of neat too. There's kind of a neat thing we want to show right now, and it's to do with setting those goals and putting them into a funnel, putting them into an order. So this would be an example of a marketing funnel. This is related to goal setting. So at each stage of the marketing funnel, at the awareness, at the website visit, lead generation, and sales, we would have goals set up. And as people move down the funnel, we see if they're meeting the goals that we expected. And this all comes back to you need to be measuring this stuff. Otherwise, you have no idea if you're winning or not, right? So, an example of a marketing funnel would be people seeing the very, very top is about awareness. Yeah. So in this funnel that we're going to show on the screen here, we have almost 70 million views of all ads that are out there on the internet, mostly digital, but some traditional as well, right? What's the next step of the funnel here?
So from there, it goes down to website visitors. So in this case, we have just over 70,000 website visitors.
Yeah, which then, once we're measuring what's happening on the website, we have a lot of activity. So we have web form completions and calls and emails coming in, chats. In this case, it was almost 8,000 different actions over the year, right? It was really impressive.
Right. And then from there, the funnel goes down another step to 1,501 new clients.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. So, and then you're measuring what the dollar value of that would be. So almost $4.5 million. So, this is just an example of a funnel. Every business is going to have their own numbers,
right.
And it's going to be, in terms of, it doesn't always have to be new customers or new clients. It could be e-commerce sales. Or whatever, or right. Like orders or signups, whatever your charities, they're not talking about this. So they're talking maybe, new donors signing up for something, and maybe dollars raised.
Yep.
So, but the idea is that you have goals and you know your benchmarks and you can measure against them. So you always know if you're on track or not. So yeah, it's just an example of how goals actually turn into something in the marketing department. We have some companies we worked with for a long time, and we've set goals, and we've met those. So a handful of those companies would be a sporting goods outlet here in our city called Fresh Air. They've done some really cool stuff online as well as offline. We can show some graphics on the screen, and as well as a construction company called Metal Structure Concepts. They build big warehouses and buildings and industrial buildings all over Canada. They've had their goals are more lead generation. So we have a funnel set up for them, much like the one we just showed, and that's pretty neat. So we know our targets each year, and then we can see if we're moving towards them. And then if we're not, we make adjustments. We constantly try to improve what we're doing so we're hitting our goals. Yeah. But the goal setting needed to happen at the very beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah. So another one completely unrelated to that would be Scouts Canada. So, and this is a neat one where we had goals for summer camp. They have like 300 spots, or they have goals for their new Scouts intake. Each year they have a recruitment season where they're trying to fill up spots in various zones across Canada. And they have, again, it's kind of a defined thing. They have more or less a set number of spots open for the kids. So turning on a campaign and doing stuff, and it launches out to Canada, we have to keep a really close eye on what the goals were and then how we're tracking towards those goals.
How close we are.
And it was kind of a neat one. I was telling you, we were discussing earlier how you can save money as long as you're watching the right things.
And that you have those goals.
Yeah. So we had those goals. We hit them earlier than we thought. And then we didn't need to spend all of the advertising budget because we can turn things off because we know that we've done a good job and we hit them early. Yeah. So when something's sold out, no need to market. Like save your dollars for something else. Yeah. So I hope that's helpful. We do a lot of goal setting here, and we're very focused on that. So again, we'll see you next time.
Bye.